Congratulations, you live in Panem. On the surface, the high-speed trains and glamorous broadcasts suggest a sleek, futuristic society. In reality, Panem functions as a meticulously engineered punishment system that happens to have a flag. Think of your citizenship like a forced hiring process. Your assigned district locks you into a single permanent function. You receive a title, a specific task, and a tool. The entire setup mimics the structure of standard labor, tricking your brain into treating this as normal work. Eventually, the sensory mismatch hits. You notice the hallway feels entirely too quiet. You see a powerful person acting calm in a way that makes your skin crawl. You feel your stomach tighten as your body realizes the official story is a lie. The Capitol uses extreme poverty and starvation as specific management tools. They engineer weakness across the districts, ensuring the workforce remains too physically exhausted to do anything but depend on the system for their next meal. Capitol insiders rely on gaslighting to keep the machine running. They rename disaster. They call mass starvation a resource management issue. They describe systemic terror as policy, optics, or tradition. As an ordinary citizen, your vulnerability is a feature, not a flaw. The utter lack of protection and information proves the workplace is functioning exactly as designed to exploit you. Every massive corporation requires an enforcement arm. The peacekeepers operate as a violent, militarized human resources department whose sole purpose is enforcing absolute compliance. You feel the vibration of a heavy boot before you see the uniform. You force your face to stay rigid because panic violates policy. Then comes the mandatory company lottery, the reaping. This event voids any remaining scrap of the social contract between the Capitol and its people. The reaping poisons childhood by turning the lives of children into leverage. The Capitol uses the threat of the arena to force the adult workforce into quiet submission. The peacekeepers and the reaping work in tandem to break you mentally. They ensure that when the demands of your job become deadly, you realize there is no higher authority you can turn to for help. Psychological warfare takes over where the peacekeepers leave off. The Hunger Games and the surrounding broadcasts serve as mandatory culture events designed to normalize slaughter. You experience a constant cognitive dissonance. You listen to glamorous, cheerful television audio while a physical dread pools in your stomach. The system offers the myth of a promotion, but surviving the games does not grant a victor their freedom. It simply shifts the nature of their exploitation. This organizational chart shows exactly how a victor fits into the hierarchy. While they sit in an isolated box, they are still connected by thick lines to the Capitol. They are elevated assets, still entirely owned by the same corporate structure as the lowest coal miner. The media apparatus converts visceral terror into a celebrated culture. It forces you to actively participate in viewing your own trauma as entertainment. Life in the districts settles into a grinding, daily ritual of labor. You wake up, don the same rough clothes, and return to your station. This endless momentum ensures you never have the clarity to organize. In a system built on predictable despair, hope is a compliance violation. If you find yourself feeling optimistic about the future, you are carrying the most dangerous hazard a citizen can possess. There is a total disconnect between the Capitol executives and the factory floor. The people at the very top do not even comprehend normal human suffering. The ruling class insulates themselves by sanitizing the horror. They view catastrophic suffering as a matter of localized procedure and optics. The Capitol manages human lives by treating them as data points in an organizational machine. To them, your struggle is just another entry in a yield report. Eventually, the infrastructure fails. The workforce goes on strike, rebellion sparks, and the system begins to fracture. When macro-level problems hit Panem, the system uses you as a shock absorber. You are the physical and emotional shield for the damage the powerful create. Remaining neutral is impossible. You are trapped between the Capitol's crackdowns and a rebellion that treats you as collateral damage. Surviving requires abandoning empathy. You adopt a cutthroat morality to stay alive, hardening your internal world into a cold, black sphere. The Capitol succeeds when they corrupt your baseline human empathy. Their goal is not just to kill you, but to make you as cold as the system that built you. The system eventually demands one last display of unity. Even when you are completely broken, they expect you to stand for the final broadcast. You have faced the peacekeepers, survived the Hunger Games, and endured the Capitol. Yet none of these individual elements are the core threat. The real horror is the insidious expectation that follows the daily ritual of your life. Despite the exploitation and the losses, the system expects you to wake up, put on your uniform, and keep the machine running anyway. You are a disposable asset. No hope is offered. When you can no longer do the job, the massive system simply moves on to the next worker.